But this was the general difference I found. But there is one common thing that we should understand, whether it's the East or the West. The main thing is, next slide, please. So the reason why this is happening is because there's a lack of understanding of the Indic thought process. Yeah, so the lack of rootedness, or what we like to call as the Bharatiya Drishtikon, being able to see with that Indian lens, that is what is the root cause of all of this differences. And what we can do to arrive at a clear understanding of Indian culture is protecting whatever the received wisdom we have, and establishing economic security, and being proud about it. So this is not said by me. This is actually the Ministry of Education, Government of India. They have a separate cell called Indian Knowledge Systems, which is actually a division of the government. So they actually wrote a book about it. And in that book, they talk about the importance of Indian knowledge system, and state these 3 facts. Let's look into what Indian knowledge system has. So this is probably a very common topic. A lot of people who study Indic thought would be very familiar with this. But I put it up here just to get the understanding of where Ayurveda falls in this. Because that's important to know the root of what you're studying before you study it. So the Vedangas are considered the limbs of Vedas. They help you understand the Vedas better. The Vedas are the eternal knowledge. You have Rig, Yajus, Sama, and Atharva. Each Veda has its own Upaveda, or the Vedas that come from that knowledge itself, specialized knowledge. From Rig Veda, you have the Arthashastra. From Yajurveda, you have Dhanurveda. So the Arthashastra could be like learning about policy, learning about business. And Yajurveda gives the science Dhanurveda. Dhanurveda is archery and learning about military skills, archery. Samaveda gives you Gandharva Veda. Gandharva Veda is about the arts, singing, dancing, and other arts. So Atharva Veda is where Ayurveda comes from, is what you could see as a gross level. And then we have the Puranas, Itihasa. Purana means Punarapi Navaha, means that it's new even though it's old. That's the meaning of Purana. So it means that there are stories to help us understand the Vedas better. And the Vedangas are specific rules and understanding to understand the Vedas in their true entirety. So the Itihasa means Itihasma. It happened, thus so. It has happened. This is history. Itihasa means history. Purana means mythology or story. But they both help us understand the concepts of the Vedas in an easy way in the form of stories. Then we have the Dharma Shastras, Smriti, Manusmriti being a common one. And we have the Darshanas. Darshanas are ways of looking at life. Darshanas are Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Yoga, Sankhya, and you have Purva Mimamsa, Uttar Mimamsa. The takeaway from this is, where do you see yoga? Yoga is a darshana. Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Yoga, Sankhya. So yoga is a way of looking at life. And Ayurveda is an Upaveda. It's not on the slide, but it is an Upaveda of Atharva Veda. So the connection between Ayurveda and yoga is like yoga helps you look at Ayurveda. Ayurveda is a science, and yoga helps you look at that science in a better way. That's how you can understand this. And Ayurveda is based off of several darshanas itself. We study darshanas, which are the foundational philosophy of the subject, in a better way by studying the Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Yoga, and Sankhya. These 4 play an important role on how Ayurvedic texts were written. Nyaya means the logic. So logical reasoning, debates, these were an essential part of Ayurvedic study. People used to study in the past using debates, using discussions. Many of the chapters mentioned in the ancient Charaka Samhita have descriptions of these debates. They debated on how many rasas existed, how many tastes we have, like sweet, salty, sour, sour. So these are 6 tastes, Madhura, Amla, Lavana, Katu, Tikta, Kashai. But some believe that there's only one. Water is the only taste. Some said that there are 2. So on and so forth. logical reasoning was a very integral part of Vedic culture. These are the aspects that influence Ayurveda. These are just the roles of Vedangas. Can skip through this. Shiksha is an important one here. Shiksha talks about the rules of pronunciation. Sanskrit is a special language. I know lots of people talk about this, but there are particular reasons why. Because every place that you pronounce a Sanskrit letter is from a specific part of your oral cavity. So when you say ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, it's coming from the source of your throat. It's a kantya. And then cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. Ichu yashanam taluhu is what the sutra is given. That comes from the palatals. It's coming from the palate. Ka, cha, ta. So now we have the ta varga, which is ta, ta, da, dha, na. You can try it for yourself too. Ta, ta. Try to say that. It may be harder for a few of you, and there's a reason for that. Try it. Say ta, 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 da, dha, na. Where do you feel that hitting in your mouth? In the back? Okay. Do you know a specific place? Try it again and really think about where your tongue is touching. The up. So it's a murdhanya, meaning it's a cerebral. It actually activates your brain. And this is a letter which is missing in several languages. You don't use tha on a regular basis. You don't use dha on a regular, but you do in Sanskrit. So that's why there's that holistic approach to using all aspects of your vocal cords. And then we have the ta varga, ta, tha, da, dha, na. So where does that come from? Your teeth, right? Teeth. Even the word teeth, you get your teeth touching in that word. So ta has that from your teeth, the back of your teeth. So you use that aspect. And the last varga is ma. So pa, pa, ba, bha, ma. So you feel everything coming from your lips. So you see how we went from all the way back to the front of your throat, front of your oral cavity, to the last part. This is also why when we say the omkara, you say a, u, and then ma. So you have everything. The whole essence of your vocal capacity is within that one akshara, and that is om. We can go to the next. Yeah, so this is an organization of what India is actually following as a curriculum in several colleges and schools, universities, for teaching Indian knowledge systems. This is a syllabus of what they have designed. Why I'm talking about this is we need to know what's happening today in the world, especially in India, and how we're growing from there, from a place when there was no such thing as learning Indian knowledge as a formal education. Now it's coming into schools. In management schools, they actually teach this as a course. So this is a extent with which India had its knowledge in math, in astronomy, in metallurgy, and health, wellness, and psychology. This is where we're looking at today. You can go to the next one. So as you can see, Indian knowledge system has so many aspects to it. Okay, so we saw the 14 Vidyasthanas, where we just looked at the Vedas, the Vedangas, and then the Darshanas, which showed us how to look at the subjects. That is the core of whatever we call as Sanatana Dharma. And the other things like architecture and applied aspects are all coming as a branch of all this core knowledge. So this is where we get into health, wellness, and psychology in other, because it's an Upaveda of Atharva Veda. And we also get it in the form of oral traditions. Many people in the past used to learn Ayurveda from their parents. They used to see their grandmother cooking in a kitchen. Ayurveda tends to start in the kitchen and end in the bathroom. People say start in the kitchen, but the real important thing is it ends in the bathroom, because you need to know how you're digesting your food. Many of the processes described in Ayurveda, like Panchakarma, you've heard of this so much. Can anyone tell me, like, what do you think of Panchakarma? What does it mean? Anyone? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear Panchakarma? How? That's perfect. That's the right answer, actually. It's the right answer. That's good, but lots of people don't know that. Most people think Panchakarma means it's a massage center, but it's great that you have that awareness. That's really not common. So Panchakarma is whatever she said, like elimination of toxins from your stool through that's called Virechana, and then Vamana when you do it through your oral cavity, Nasya when you remove the waste products from your head region through your nose. So these are all Panchakarma, and that's where the end result of Ayurveda is. It removes all that toxin. It starts with the kitchen and it ends with the bathroom. So we can go to the next part. So this is just importance, which we can recap again. Identifying our identity, making sure we're strong with what we believe, and we know why we believe it, and respecting the received wisdom. The received wisdom means all the shastras and samhitas or textbooks that have been written over generations. They have been written after a lot of research. In fact, Ayurveda even has research methodology. How to do research. It's very clearly given in Charaka Samhita. If you go to Vimanasthana, chapter 8, the beginning talks about how to choose a textbook, how to make sure your textbook is authentic. Do you know whether that the author is a good author or not, whether he's respected in the community, in the scientific community. And then it tells you how to choose a teacher and how to choose a student. When it gives you so much information about how to choose a particular aspects of study, it really indicates that we need to make sure that we know the ancient wisdom was not written just for the fun of it. It was written after a lot of research and processing. In fact, the 5-step scientific method is given in Ayurveda. It's called Pratigna, Hetu, Udaharana, Upanaya, and Nigamana. This is just the same thing we say, that stating the hypothesis and then doing the methods and doing review of literature. And all of these aspects of scientific method are given in Ayurveda in the same way. Many of these we find similar and we get surprised, but it's not surprising seeing the time that this world has been and so many people before us have been on it. Of course, so many would have asked questions and seeked answers. Go to the next part. So this is how Ashtanga Hridaya looks like. It has almost like 10,000 shlokas. So many verses. The Bhagavad Gita has 700. So the Samhitas of Ayurveda have thousands of shlokas, thousands of few sthanas, which few chapters. Each chapter could have a few hundreds of shlokas. This is just to show the vastness of what we're dealing with, because I don't want to say that I'm simplifying and this is my Ayurveda that I'm teaching you. That's not the way it works. Actually, it's that essence which has been coming through generations of so much study. That is what Ayurveda is. It has Ashtanga Hridaya, that's one textbook written by Vagbhata. Then we have Charaka Samhita written by Agnivesha. And then we have Sushruta, which is a surgical textbook. We have Bhava Mishra's Bhava Prakasha, Madhavi Nidana, Sharangdhara Samhita. You would have never heard of these words, but this is just to tell you, like, there are so many. To study Ayurveda for 5 years, we studied 50 textbooks, 50. And each textbook has so many different perspectives, different topics. In fact, Ayurveda itself, like the Vedas, have 4 branches and it goes on into limbs. We have Ayurveda with 8 branches. So you can just come up and tell me, like, what branches do you think medicine could have? You can take your knowledge from modern medicine too. Anyone? Yeah, organ systems. Any specific field, like specializations, you would say? A specialization. A specialization of medicine. Gastroenterologist. Yeah, that would be maybe into internal medicine. Internal medicine. So in Ayurveda, it's called Kaya Chikitsa. And then another one? Surgery, Shalya Tantra. Neurology. Neurology in Ayurveda, we don't have a specific, but we have Vata Vyadhi management, which also comes into Kaya Chikitsa. Cardiology. These are all system-oriented, and that's what makes Ayurveda a little different. We look at the body in terms of systems, and we call that srotas. So we have Annavaha srotas, which means the gastroenterology, and then we have the nervous system. these are srotas, but the specializations are a little more general. Shalya was one, surgery, internal medicine, and then we had psychology or psychiatry. That would be graha chikitsa. We have pediatrics, and then we have ENT. We have kaya, bala, graha, urdhvanga, shalya, damshtra, jara, vrasha. So jara means geriatrics, taking care of old elderly, and damshtra means forensics medicine. We have forensic medicine. Jara, vrisha. Vrisha means aphrodisiac treatment, treating infertility. So these are all the 8 branches of Ayurveda that are usually taught in schools too. Go to the next. So now we come to what is Ayurveda. Now we have a really great understanding of Ayurveda. Ayushaha sambandhi veda Ayurveda iti. So the science that deals with life, not just medicine. A lot of people said traditional health medicine. Ayurveda is the science that deals with life. So life is a really big word. It may be only 4 letters long, but it's a big word. And it also says Ayusha palakam vedam upavedam atharvanaha. So it's a upaveda of Atharvana Veda. Go to the next. So what is life? Can anyone try define life?
Anyone want to define?
What is life to you? There's no wrong answers. That's a perfect answer, because from birth to death, where life ends, Ayurveda ends. We don't talk about death and Ayurveda. It's only related to life, and she took it from the definition, Ayusha Sambandhi Veda. It's related to life. Yes, that's correct. Anyone else?
How we exist on this earth.
Yeah, our existence in this earth. So here we have Sharirendriya Sattvatma Sanyogo Dhari Jivitam Nityagascha Anubandhascha Paryayai Ayuruchyate. So Nityaga and Anubandha, these are the synonyms of Ayurveda, Ayuhu. This means that it's eternal. Someone mentioned eternal, immortal. So the Ayu, the life is always eternal. And Sharira, that means the body. The body, when it comes in contact with the Indriyas or the sense organs, and then when it associates with the manas or the mind, and then enters the Atma, this connection, this whole system is called life. When you connect your body, your senses, and your mind and your Atma, everything together is what life is made of. Without the blue that represents Atma, you are nothing but a body. You have nothing else. Only when Atma and combined with the mind and everything, it's life, or else there's no life to it. So we see the aims of Ayurveda. What is the purpose of learning Ayurveda? What are they trying to achieve? Why would the rishis even talk about Ayurveda? There should be some reason. What is the origin of Ayurveda? Have you ever thought about this? Why do we even need medicine or life science? Yeah, because of illness. That is the right answer. So the rishis in the past, they were really filled with sorrow when they saw a fellow human being suffering from illnesses. They saw animals dying, suffering the pain and misery. They saw all of this and got really compassionate and thought, we have to do something about this. This is not fair. So we can't let everybody who's around us suffer, and we can't watch them and be happy. What is the use of all of our tapas and meditation if we can't help our fellow beings? That is where Ayurveda emerged from the state of compassion. So the aims of Ayurveda are also due to that. Ayuh kamayamanena dharmartha sukha sadhanam ayurvedopadesheshu vidheyav paramadraha. So this means that Ayurveda is for achieving wealth, achieving happiness, achieving all, fulfilling your pleasures, and most of all, achieving dharma and achieving moksha. So it is for achieving that ultimate liberation from pain and misery, not just the physical one, but the spiritual pain and misery. So all of this is what Ayurveda tries to achieve. So as she mentioned, aturasya vikara prashamanam. removing person's illnesses. That is another aim of Ayurveda. It's second because the first is prevention. Ayurveda believes in prevention, swasthasya swasthya rakshanam, and aturasya vikara prashamanam. So first we need to preserve the health of the healthy, and then we can remove the diseases of the diseased. And what is the definition of health? WHO mentions that health is a state of physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of a disease. So how many of you can raise your hand and tell me that you're healthy? Okay. Okay, we have 3, 4 people. 5. Okay, yeah. So 5 of us are healthy. We'll look into that later. So the health definition is samadosha samagnischa samadhatu malakriyaha prasannatmendriyamanaha swastha ityabhidhiyate. Samadosha means equilibrium of your doshas. What are doshas? This is too hard of a question. Go to the next slide. So these are, just think of those as doshas. You have your vata, a little darker, pitta in the middle, and then kapha at the end. Do you know the gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva? So what does Brahma do? He creates. He's so enthusiastic. He's the architect of this whole universe. He makes everything so wonderful. He initiates the task. And he makes sure that this world starts and his creative project is on. That is what Vata does. It moves. Tam chalaha, utsaha, it helps in breathing. Uchvasa nishvasa, it helps in the complete respiration process. And then cheshta vega pravartanehi, it helps in all our activities. If I'm able to move my hand, if I'm able to talk, the coordination between the mic, my hand, everything is taken care by Vata. That's the function of Vata. And Pitta, you can compare it with Maheshwara or Shiva, the one who destroys everything, destroys the evils, destroys the unnecessary. So Pitta always helps in purifying. Pitta is located, some of the aspects of Pitta are in the liver. So the liver is, when it's detoxified, you can see the action of Shiva coming into our body and removing toxins. So then Kapha is compared to Vishnu because he's the sustainer. He's a preserver of our life. Kapha helps in giving our groundedness and making us feel that warmth, and not warmth in sense of the temperature, but warmth in sense of stability. Kapha is a cooling in nature actually. It's heavy and cooling, but it gives us the stability in life. When we're able to sit at one place and feel like, okay, relaxed, that's the action of Kapha. It nourishes our body. Next. So we finished Samadosha, Samagni. What is Agni? It's fire, right? So you've seen Homa, a Homa going on. So what do they add in a Homa? Ghee. So what does that tell you about ghee? Ghee is good for Agni Deepana. Ghee is really good for igniting the digestive fire and making sure that you feel hungry on time. It says Gritam Pitta Nilaharam. It reduces the Pitta and Vata in your body. So it helps in nourishment with Kapha. Rasa Shukra Aujasam Param. So it helps in improving your immunity. It helps in improving your Rasa Dhatu, the tissues in your body which have fluid. And then it also helps to improve your reproductive system. So that's the function of Agni. There are 3 types of abnormalities in Agni. When you feel too hungry, you have Tikshna Agni. When you feel you're not hungry at all these days, then you have Manda Agni. But when you have a stable Agni, it's considered Sama. That balance is what Ayurveda looks for. It's not like Vata is bad or Pitta is good. A lot of people think that Vata, because it's so active, it's not good for you because you'll get diseases. Vata means pain. A lot of Indian languages also say Vata means pain. So Vata in abnormality means pain. But it's not, all are necessary for us. The state of balance is what we're looking for. The sutra that I said, Samadosha Samagni. So everything is talking about Sama. Sama means balance. Sama means yoga. That's what this means. Next. So these are 7 dhatus. You have rasa, which is your fluid, and you can think of it as all the watery portions of your body. Then you have rakta, the blood in your body. Mamsa, the muscle tissues of your body, and the meda, the fat or adipose tissue. And then we have asthi, which are the bones, and majja and shukra. Majja is the bone marrow, and shukra could be the reproductive system. So when you look at this, what comes to your mind when you think about the five elements of our body, which are earth, water, fire, air, and space? You look at these and then try to find out where they go in dhatus or tissues. So what does fluid compose of mainly? Water, right? Water. So rakta also has more of water. What about mamsa? What element does it have? More of water and prithvi, maybe earth. It has more solid structure, right? And then we have medas. Medas also has a little bit of solid structure and liquid structure too. And asti, this is pretty easy. Solid structure, right? Very solid, gives us our structure. And also it has holes, so it's considered as akasha too, porous. Bones have a little bit of holes, so they are prithvi and akasha, mix of space element and the soil or earth element. And so that's how you understand everything in terms of the mahabhutas, or the elements of the universe. The elements in the universe are present inside our body, and that's how we understand the dhatus and the relation between the mahabhutas. So these you can understand as trimala, the waste products of your body. Samadosha, samagni, samadhatu. Now we look at mala. So an increase or decrease of any of these indicates you are diseased. So you have too much times you need to go to urine. So the middle one is urine, the first one is feces, and the last is sweat. So you're sweating too much, or you don't sweat at all, or you have too much urine, you have to go to the bathroom too often, and also you don't feel like going to the restroom at all, or you have constipation or diarrhea. So all of that means you're diseased. Next one. And the most important thing, which also WHO definition talks about, is that spiritual well-being. Prasanna Atma Indriya Manaha. So when you have a good sense of self, you have a good pleasant mind and pleasant sensory perception, then you're considered healthy. Now let's find out if you're healthy. So what this says is, Annabhilasha Bhuktasya. Whenever you eat something, whenever you have empty stomach, you've been on fast for 3 hours, do you feel hungry on time? These are some questions to think of. You can just make a note of how many yeses you have on one hand, how many no's you have on another hand. So that'll help. So Annabhilasho Bhuktasya. Do you feel really interested in your food when you have to eat something? You could put a no on your left and a yes on your right. Anyone, you could do that, like when I'm doing this, or else it'll be really complicated. So if you have a yes, put a finger on your right hand. If you don't, put a finger on your left hand. Paripaka sukhenacha. Do you feel like you're able to digest whatever you eat? Do you feel comfortable in passing stools? Do you feel like everything you've eaten is digested? You don't have any bloating or acidity? The next one is Srishta Vinmutra Vatatvam, Sharirasya Chalaghavam. Do you feel light after on a regular basis? Do you feel like you're lethargic, fatigued, or do you feel really light and ready to work? And do you feel like you can easily evacuate your stool flatus without any difficulty in the mornings? You're able to evacuate, or you have to take some time and strain. So these are things you can think about. And then suprasannendriyatvam cha. So this is also an important aspect. Are you happy? Are you pleasant most of the time? Happy is a very extreme word, and sad is a very extreme word. But pleasant is that state of equilibrium. Do you feel at peace most of the time? And sukha swapna prabodhanam. This is a thing which many people don't find in themselves. Like, they're not able to sleep well, and they're not able to get up well after even a long sleep. A lot of people face that problem. They sleep for 8 hours, 9 hours, and still in the morning, they don't want to get up. So you can think about that. Sukha swapna prabodhanam. Are you able to get up easily? Are you able to sleep easily? And then bala varnayusham labhaha. So do you have strength? Are you running? Are you physically active? You can lift some weights, but you don't feel tired afterwards. And then how is your complexion? How do you look? Do you have that ill look, or do you have that glowing, very happy, excited look on your face? Um, and then Saumanasyam Samagnita. Do you have an equilibrium in your digestion? Do you have a pleasant mind again? They really give importance to how you feel rather than what it is, because a lot of time mind has a lot of influence over our health. This is how you mention if you're healthy or not. These are the guidelines to assess whether you're healthy in Ayurveda. So how many of you got all of them? Balavarnayusham labha saumanasyam samagnita. Do you have a pleasant mind, an equilibrium in your digestion, and do you have good strength, complexion, and feeling about your life? So what do you think the rest of you missed? Anyone wants to talk about it? Nana, you can give the mic to anybody. You wanna like tell like what are the number you got right and which are the numbers?
I got happy and down sometimes. That one on my
Mhm.
left hand.
Okay.
And
Okay, that's really good. Anybody else? Mhm.
and bad complexion and no strength.
No strength. Okay. So you got a 50-50, maybe 50-50. Yeah. So most of us can't say everything is like true for us. Like we can't say we're exactly healthy, and a lot of doctors try to use this point and like help you and tell you that you're not healthy. That's the only way you can see a clinic running. But that's not only true. We can always do preventive care, so you can still accept that you are healthy, and we can still go forward and do some preventive care. You don't have to be diseased to take Ayurveda. Ayurveda is not about taking only tablets, and we'll look at other rituals in the next slides. So now we look at why you're not healthy if you weren't, and why you're healthy if you were. So there are causes of diseases, and some of them are called karmaja. So purva janma kritam papam vyadhirupena badhate. Tat shantyartham, aushadham, danam, japa homa. So these are the things you need to do for relieving the diseases which are caused due to misdeeds or your previous life because of some karmic action. In modern science, they call it idiopathic. They don't have a reason for it. They don't know why you're suffering. You're just suffering. So they leave it as idiopathic. They don't go into detail about it. But in Ayurveda, we talk about it and say it's purva janma kritam papa. And agantuja is due to some external factors. If you saw my trailer video, you would remember the marbles that I placed around the horse's fort. So the marbles represent those external bacteria viruses trying to attack you. And that Daiva Vyapasha Chikitsa, or whatever spiritual therapy you're doing, it offers that protection against all these external factors like COVID and etc. Go to the next. There's also another one, and why you're not healthy. It could be because of an imbalance in your mind or an imbalance in your body. And Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures talk about sattva, rajas, and tamas. And these are points which a lot of people know about. These are points that you learned recently. And I'm sure if you think about it as Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, you'll be able to understand everything very well. So why you're not healthy could also be due to internal factors within yourself. So, and how do we fix this? Observances you could do for keeping your good health and making sure that you don't get a disease are these. Nityam hitahara vihara sevi samikshya vishayeshva saktah data samasatya parah kshamavan aptopasevi cha bhavatyarugah. So people who follow these observances never face disease in their life. Those who eat a good diet and follow a good regimen. What do you think is diet and regimen? What exactly means diet and regimen? Do you know any standard that says you have to eat this and this is good? If you skip through the internet, everybody says something different. Don't you feel confused sometimes? And now if I say, okay, you should eat a salad from tomorrow. You should eat vegetables, only boiled vegetables, nothing else. See, that's not the way Ayurveda works. There are set principles And I'm not authority for this. The acharyas who have done research are authority for this. And I won't say things on my own based on my thinking, but I will follow because aptopasevi cha bhavatya rogaha. Apta is one who is free from rajas and tamas and the doshas of the mind and doshas of the body. And that kind of a person is called a preceptor. He is the authentic source for gaining knowledge. So we believe what he says and we serve what he says. Serve doesn't really mean washing his feet. It means respecting the work he has done and following the work he has done. So in Ayurveda, there are 4 pramanas that we follow. Pramanas are tools of attaining knowledge. It could be pratyaksha, means direct perception. You touch something, okay, this phone is on the table. What's the proof? I can see it with my eyes, right? Or you're sitting over there. I can see you from there. Or there's a buzz, light buzz because of the monitor. I can hear it with my ears. And if there's some good food being prepared, I can smell it. So these are the authentic proof that I have based on pratyaksha or direct perception. But what is the guarantee that my indriyas are not lying to me? So do you ever think about that? Am I really seeing what I'm seeing, or is it just my imagination of it? Or is it limited? Is my perception limited? From there we get other types of tools. Pratyaksha anumana, we infer. In Ayurveda we see agnim jarana shakti, shaktya parikshet. So how do you examine an agni of a person, the digestive capacity? Based on how well they digested their previous meal. I can't see agni, I can't see vata in you. I see you got vata. That's not how it works. You assess it based on its functions and qualities, and you arrive at a conclusion. You infer something. And this is the Anumana Pramana. So Pratyaksha Anumana Agama Pramana. The Agama Pramana is what we're talking about here. Aptopasevi. So those who trust, believe in the Shastras, and believe in the real scientists and rishis, they won't face any disease because no, it's not a blind belief that they believe in them because they're following authentic source of information. Data samasatya parahak shamavan. The previous line says, those who are always engaged in donations. Today is a very auspicious day. It's Pushyarka Yoga, which means that it's Pushya Nakshatra, the stars, and Arka, which means the sun. So you have the power of the sun, and you have the power of Pushya Nakshatra, which is good for nourishment, which improves the kapha, the immunity of a person. So this helps you protect your health. And doing dana on these kind of auspicious days is considered good. So that is what it's talking about. Data samaha satya parahak shamavan. You're forbearing, you always speak the truth. And the previous line talks about how you deal with your indriyas, your sense organs. You watch TV all night just because you want to? Or are you able to control yourself and sleep because you're supposed to sleep at a particular time? So that is what Samikshikari Visheshva Sakta means. You're able to control your senses and take in only what you need and not what you want. Next slide. So when we look at Vedic rituals and Ayurveda, they meet at so many junctions. There are references to chanting mantras before therapeutic procedures. So before they administer vamana, as she was mentioning, that the removal of toxins through the oral route, they actually chant a mantra before and pray to Rudra, pray to Vishnu, pray to all these gods that may this treatment be successful. May no obstacles come when I'm performing this treatment to my patient. I want my patient to be healthy. So you pray before doing that. You pray before doing a massage. You pray to the patient. You pray for his health. Because for us, patient is a god. We treat the patient as a god just like you do Taila Abhisheka for your deities. As the priest does Taila Abhisheka for the deities, doctors do it for their patients. And just as you offer prasad, and prasad is offered to the patients in the form of light diet. And it's always given in specific way. Ushnam, it's given hot. It's given snigdha, it's given unctuous. So it's given with all the good intentions. That's what makes the treatment successful. I could go on and on about how many the rituals that priests perform are similar to what Ayurvedic doctors perform, but it's not necessary because once you understand a few points of these, you'll be able to make those connections yourself. So here we have Daiva Vyapashya Chikitsa, or spiritual therapy. This refers to mantra, aushadhi, mani, mangala, japa, homa, prayashita, prashamana. So these are all the kinds of therapies that they do in Ayurveda. And some of them are mantra, chanting mantras. Today is a very auspicious day to chant Aditya Hridayam. Have you ever heard of Aditya Hridayam? Yeah, so we're going to do that chanting in a while. And it's really a powerful day to do it today. It instills so much confidence and goodwill in your body and mind. So that is Daiva Vyapashraya. There is indications of wearing certain precious jewels like pearls, which help you keep coolness, and it's connected to the moon. So certain gems are responsible for activating certain energy and certain levels of confidence in the body. Some are responsible for calmness, some for that rajas or some power. So you have different gemstones for different things referred in Ayurveda. It's called Rasa Shastra. So there's a Shastra for using gold. They say when you wake up in the morning, you have to look at the reflection of your face in a pot made of gold and which has ghee inside it. And that will promote you to live 100 years. That's one of the references given in Ayurveda. So it just indicates the importance of wearing gold. About even there's a concept of Swarnamrita Prasha. So Swarnamrita Prasha is intake of gold. Intake of gold along with milk and along with honey and ghee. This is given, actually in my college they're doing it today. So they're doing it today because today is Pushya Nakshatra. They do it for small kids to boost their immunity. Because ghee, as we already spoke about before, is a really good promoter of Agni. It's said to be a Shubha Karya. It's used in all the Shubha Karyas, like Homa. We always put ghee. It's always auspicious, and it's best among all the unctuous materials, the oily materials. Like the other three are Taila, Majja, Grita, Taila, Majja, and Vasa. These are the 4 types of unctuous materials described in Ayurveda. So non-vegetarian recipes are also given in Ayurveda, which a lot of people are not aware of. So Ayurveda has both vegetarian and non-vegetarian recipes. And in the non-vegetarian, you have Majja and Vasa, which refers to bone marrow and muscle fat when it's liquefied of animals. So the Taila and Grita are coming from an animal source, one Grita from cows and Taila from plants. And Thailam is said to be the best for inducing heat in our body, and Grita is said to be the best for the mind, Medhya. So it's really good for improving brain and concentration. Among everything, all these 4, Grita is the best. And why is it the best? Because we're used to it from the time we're little. When we're young, when we're just born, we drink milk of the mother, and then as we grow older, we're used to drinking milk and its products. So ghee is introduced to us very initially. And Swarnamrita Prasha is actually a samskara, or a ritual done for very small kids. Just when they're born, they're made to lick ghee along with honey and a little bit of gold, just to check their rooting reflex, their swallowing reflex. These are the things that they check in just born babies. Normally, they just do it by bringing the baby close to the mother's breast, but in Ayurveda, they do it with the tip of a finger and try to apply honey to the baby. Then we look at Janapadodvamsa. There's a whole chapter given on how to deal with pandemics and why they occur. So that's also a point where we see spiritual therapy playing an important role. They say yuge yuge dharmapadaha kramenaniha hiyate. It means that every yuga, every state of, you have a few thousands of years each yuga completes, and then you have the next yuga. There are 4 yugas, Satya, Dvapara, and then Kali Yuga, Treta. So Satya, Dvapara, Treta, and Kali Yuga. You have 4 yugas. Those are 4 time periods. And so in each stage, you have certain problems that come, and in each stage, you are losing your lifespan, you're losing your health. Everything is coming down in quality. You see, 100 years ago, fruits and vegetables were much better in quality and taste. But now they're less. So Janapadodvamsa deals with pandemics and all the other qualities that say that dharma is reducing by each leg. They say, you can give that example, I think. The cow with 4 legs. And each leg is being like removed when, you've heard about it, right? You want to talk about it? Just, okay. Yeah, so basically a cow with 4 limbs is shown as an example of what 4 yugas are. And when each limb is being removed is what after each yuga what you face. Like that's represented, the cow is a representation of the dharma, and each limb being removed is like a representation of its reducing. So padena hiyate means in one-fourth quantity, dharma is being reduced every yuga. Then we have during the preparation of medicines. So we use mercury in Ayurveda, mercury, the metal. So we use it, we do samskaras. There are 8 processes we do to purify mercury to make it edible. That's the power of doing processes to purify something. And during the preparation, we chant certain mantras as we pound the mercury and mix it with several other medicines. And that helps reduce its toxic effects and improve its medicinal properties. And then to prevent diseases, we give Ayurveda as a form of immunity. The Swarnamrita Prasha is an exact example of that. To treat mental illnesses. So in Ayurveda, there's a whole chapter about Unmada, psychiatric disturbances, apasmara, the fits or cerebral, what do you say? Fits, yeah. So these are the 2 chapters given. And Unmada, you have various effects of grahas or external factors influencing, like Daiva, Pishacha, Gandharva Graha. You have all these bhuta that are trying to affect you. And for removing those kind of illnesses due to various causes, the Daiva Vyapasha Chikitsa or mantra are important. There's a shloka for that too. Tesham shantyartham anvichan vaidyastu su samahitaha japaisa niyamair homair arabheta chikitsitam. So you see in everything there's a reference to japa, homa, and the following of certain personal practices like niyama, disciplines. And then we have a concept of human transformation. This is what we want to look at as samskara. Next one. So in samskara, we already went through the 5 elements. We have to understand what a dravya is before we look at samskara. A dravya is defined as yatra shritaha karma gunaha karanam samavayi yatta dravyam. The substance is defined as something which cannot live without karma and guna. So karma is action, activity, its functions. Guna means its qualities. So that's why I represented it as a triangle, because sattva, rajas, and tamas are 3 gunas. And these are governing qualities of something. And when these are together, that's what makes a dravya. A dravya cannot exist without these 2. So that's the basic understanding we need to have when we go forward. This is a classification of understanding substances in Ayurveda. So you have things which don't have life, and you have other substances which have life. The ones that have life are called chetana, and in that you have plants, you have animals, you have humans, all of that. And achetana are like gold, the substances which are pure and natural, and the other substances like plastic which are made up by man. So this is the original classification mentioned. And then if you look at Chetana, like you must have thought substance, I'm not a substance, like I'm alive, I'm not a substance. But we have something called Chetana Dravya, which means a living substance, a substance with consciousness. Chetana means consciousness. So when a Dravya has consciousness along with this guna and karma, it's actually living. So just like I spoke about the processing of mercury and making it from toxic to very special, like acting like a nectar. So the same way a Dravya can also, if we take ourselves to be a Dravya, we change a few qualities about ourselves, change a few actions, and we become way more superior, we become superhuman, basically, by doing certain processes. If you heard about Ashta Siddhi and all these powerful tools with which people become like superheroes, can grow very big, can pass through walls. So these are all attained by addressing to certain guna and karma. You're changing a few aspects about yourself and becoming a new person. Samskara, the definition itself means samskarohi vishesha gunantaradhanam uchyate. It means the process of transforming qualities of something. So basically, that is you and me right now. We have everything. We have guna and karma. We are that dravya. We are complete. But we are not the best that we could be. So that's what we could be. And what are these samskaras is what we'll look in the future. How do we get to that level? How do we get from being normal to extraordinary? That's what we want to do. So before we go into why, what are those samskaras in detail, we look at why we even need them. And as we saw in the first few slides, Ayuh kamayamanena dharma artha sukha sadhanam. So we need to protect our life for dharma, for attaining good health, for good life, for good values, for good wealth, and ultimately for moksha. And that is why we need to fulfill purusharthas using samskaras. If we don't have good knowledge, if we're not putting efforts towards improving ourselves, we may never attain all of these purusharthas in one life. So, and ultimate cause of this is because we want to get out of this bondage with the universe and attain liberation. This is the ultimate goal of any science in the Indic knowledge. So this is another thing I wanted to talk about is the Varnashrama Dharma. So basically there are people of different professions. Some may be intellects, some may be rulers or kings, and some may be businessmen, and others are the workers, employees of certain companies, etc. So what this means is the D represents dharma, the A represents artha, K is kama, and M is moksha. You see, everybody has the same goal of attaining moksha. It's just the different combinations they use of dharma, artha, and kama to attain the same thing. The blue represents brahmacharya, which is the first ashrama you enter into. Just as you're born till the time you become married. So when you get married, your ashrama changes to grihastha. Before that, you're brahmachari. That means you're spending all your time trying to attain maximum knowledge, studentship, basically. In that, you can't fulfill anything because you're basically just trying to learn about the world still. Basically, like just studying. Students, now you can think of it as student life. And then when you go into grihastha, that is where you're able to do karma, you're able to perform several activities, you're able to conduct pujas, you're able to do all of these things which will help you attain dharma, artha, and kama. And so you're giving back to society in that ashrama. And next is moksha. When you're in vanaprastha or you're renouncing everything slowly, one by one, not fully, you are trying to understand way more of what you learned in sannyas, in brahmacharya, and what you practiced in grihastha, so that you can be ready to attain sannyasa or renunciation, complete monkhood. So this is how the Indic system had set up life, made it so easy for us that we just enter from one stage to another, and everybody having the same goal of getting moksha. Okay. So I see this. So SDM Swarnamrita Prasha, this is just a flyer. I wanted to show you of the Swarnamrita Prasha that's happening today actually in my college. So it's just a coincidence that my college has Swarnamrita Prasha, and you see sharp brain, strong body, and about thousands of kids, small kids, come to our hospital and we administer them. This is an immunity booster. So in Balyavastha, in childhood, you have Jata Karma or birth rituals. These are all the rituals mentioned in samskaras alone. In the first slide, I talked about where do the two meet. If you remember that, about the pandemics, about using mantras before doing procedures. So that's all the big picture about a few places where spiritual therapy is used. But we're looking at a specific part of human transformation. I'm just repeating that. And this is in Balyavastha. So you have birth rituals, you have the naming ceremony, you have your first outing, first time the child is taken out of the house, and Annaprashna, feeding ceremony. This helps the baby in the weaning process to make sure the baby easily adapts from the mother's milk to other sources of milk, and then slowly to fruits, then cooked food. That's the process through which they wean the child. And then Chuda Karma, shaving the head off. And then Karna Vedana, checking the immunity of the child to respond to injury. Because when you prick the ear, it causes an injury. And how does the baby respond to it? Does it have the strength to bear the pain of that and then recover from it easily? And then Upanayana, where you're going to be initiated into formal education, Vedarambha. So Jata Karma itself, the birth rituals have so many things inside them. Like we have almost 16 birth rituals. So when you see the word Jata Karma, when the baby is born, you have so many procedures that go on, including Dola Shayana, or placing the baby in a crib, and how the crib should be designed. All that is given in very long detail. And Nishkramana Samskara, I wanted to talk a few points about that. The first outing. So when does the baby go out for the first time? It's around 4 months, and that is when the baby attains neck holding. So the baby is able to look around and look at the temple. Usually, the baby is taken out to a temple. You see the bell, right? What happens when you ring the bell? Where's the sound is coming from? So when someone's ringing a bell, the baby just turns its head and looks over there. And now everybody around knows that this baby has good hearing capacity. So society used to take care of babies that way. Because when the baby used to enter, everyone used to look at the baby, it's so cute. And not only that, it has good neck holding capacity, and it can move its head and look at the bell when it speaks. And when respond to strangers, how does it respond? Does it respond well, or does it act like it doesn't know them? Some babies go very easily, they don't have any stranger anxiety. Some babies have a good social smile, they smile at everyone. So these are the kind of the observations which you can make when you look at a baby in a temple. And the red flags, the various colors. So when something is moving, when a flag is moving, the baby turns its head and looks at that. So you can check its visual, its hearing abilities, all of these things just by taking the baby out to a temple. That is the importance of that. I won't get into all of this, but I'm just telling you a few points so that you know and you can explore about this in the future. So this is about the Tarunavastha. Why I talked more about the Balyavastha or the childhood is we have a separate subject called Kaumarabhritya. It means pediatrics. And pediatrics is given so much importance because that is where you have the maximum chance of changing the baby's qualities. If certain babies are slow, they're not reaching their developmental milestones. So you can make sure that they do by doing certain activities and taking care at an early age, especially in babies who have cerebral palsy. So when you do the treatment early on, it has a much better response than if you do it later. Of course, it's not completely curable, but you can reduce a lot more of it from getting worse. Next one. You can go to the next one. And then Vriddhavastha. So Ayurveda doesn't really talk in too much detail about Vanaprastha. It does talk about the act of sannyasa, how to go into how to do moksha sadhana. And over there it talks about raga dvesha, how to get rid of rajas and tamas, the mental sorrows. And this is the ultimate freedom, and this is the ultimate health, is what it says. Getting liberated not only from the pain of disease, but from the pain of life and rebirth, the cycle of life and rebirth. So this pain is something we don't really think about on a daily basis, but it is something to keep in mind, especially in Ayurveda. Next. Yeah, we're coming to the end. Pregnancy, there are three topics which are important that most people have no idea about. So Garbhadana Samskara is something, how many of people have heard about it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4. So Garbhadana Samskara is actually doing a Putreshti Yajna, or wishing and doing certain rites to make sure that the baby that you will conceive is going to be of good quality. Even Swami Vivekananda really reiterates this point and says the prenatal influences of the child are so strong, and you won't get that just by reading 1,000 books in a library even. So even if you, after the child is born, if you make the child read 1,000 books in a library, he won't get the same effect. But if you do these Putreshti Yajna before conception, if both the couple, the father and the mother of the would-be child, so if they both go and engage in Panchakarma, do the Shodhana, purify all their 7 tissues, and then their reproductive system becomes pure, and then they engage in coitus and have a child, that will be the child of best qualities. And that will be the child of like the more chromic character you saw in the previous, like the one that was a little bit subtler, and then the dravya that was really vibrant. So you would get a child that was very vibrant from the start. That's how child prodigies are born. Many in India, that when they're born, they just know everything. They know how to sing. They know a few shlokas. Just by 1 year, 2 years, they're able to say so many things. That is only because of the mother and father's prayers and wishes. And these are other ones. Now we'll have some Aditya Hridayam chanting. Please go back. No. We'll go to the yellow screen. We'll go to the next slides. Please X out of that. Yeah. Yeah. Present. Go to the. Okay, it's okay. The yellow slide after Pumsavana. Please close your eyes. We'll have a chanting of Aditya Hridayam. Aditya Hridayam is a conversation of Maharshi Agastya and Lord Rama. You can close your eyes and listen while I chant. So Lord Rama is in so much fear, afraid whether he'll win the battle with Ravana or not. He's on the battlefield. He's really anxious about everything. He's worried about Sita. He has so much fear. And then comes along Maharshi Agastya. And he guides Rama and instills so much power and courage into him that, no, you will be winning this war. No one but you can do this. This is the power of Aditya Hridayam. For any success we want in our life, this is one powerful mantra that can help you when chanted every day, especially on this auspicious day of Pushya Nakshatra, Arka Yoga, when we have the sun, the power of the sun, and the power of nourishment, immunity. So let us chant Aditya Hridayam. Om Asya Aditya Hridaya Stotrasya Agastya Rishihi Anushtup Chandaha Aditya Hridaya Bhuto Bhagavan Brahma Devata Nirastashesha Vignataya Brahma Vidya Siddhau Sarvatra Jaya Siddhau Cha Viniyogaha Om Tato Yuddha Parishrantam Samare Chintaya Sthitam Ravanan Chagrato Drishtva Yuddhaya Samupasthitam Daivataischa Samakamya Trashtumabhyagatoranam Upagamya Bravidramam Agastyo Bhagavan Rishihi Rama Rama Mahabaho Shrunuguhyam Sanatanam Yena Sarvanarin Vatsa Samare Vijayishyasi Aditya Hridayam Punyam Sarvashatru Vinashanam Jayavahan Japen Nityam Akshayam Paramam Shivam Sarvamangalamangelyam Sarvapapa Pranashanam Chintashoka Prashamanam Ayurvardhanamuttamam Rashmimantam Samudyantam Devasura Namaskritam Pujayasva Vivasvantam Bhaskaram Bhuvaneshwaram Sarvadevatmako Hesha Tejasvi Rashmi Bhavanah Esha Devasura Lokan Pati Gabhastibhihi Esha Brahma cha Vishnuscha Shivaskandah Prajapatihi Mahendro Dhanadah Kalo Yamasomo Hyapampatihi Pitaro Vasavasadhya Yashvinau Maruto Manuhu Vayurvanhih Praja Prana Rutukarta Prabhakaraha Aditya Savita Suryaha Khagah Pusha Gabhastiman Suvarna Sadrisho Bhanuhu Hiranyareta Divakaraha Haridashva Sahasrarchihi Sapta Saptir Marichiman Timiron Mathana Shambhuhu Tvashtamartanda Amshuman Hiranyagarbhashishiraha Tapano Bhaskaro Ravihi Agni-garbhoditev putra shankhashishiranasanah व्योमनाथस्तमो भेदी ऋग्यजुस्सामपारगः घनवृष्टिरपां मित्रो विन्ध्यवीथिप्लवङ्गमः आतपी मण्डली मृत्युः पिङ्गलः सर्वतापनः कविर्विश्वो महातेजाः रक्तः सर्वभवोद्भवः नक्षत्रग्रहताराणाम् अधिपो विश्वभावनः तेजसामपि तेजस्वी द्वादशात्मन्नमोऽस्तु ते नमः पूर्वाय गिरये पश्चिमायाद्रये नमः ज्योतिर्गणानां पतये दिनाधिपतये नमः जयाय जयभद्राय हर्यश्वाय नमो नमः नमो नमः सहस्रांशो आदित्याय नमो नमः नम उग्राय वीराय सारंगाय नमो नमः नमः पद्मप्रबोधाय मार्ताण्डाय नमो नमः ब्रह्मेशानाच्युतेशाय सूर्यायादित्यवर्चसे भास्वते सर्वभक्षाय रौद्राय वपुषे नमः तमोघ्नाय हिमघ्नाय शत्रुघ्नाय मितात्मने कृतघ्नघ्नाय देवाय ज्योतिषां पतये नमः तप्तचामीकराभाय वह्नये विश्वकर्मणे नमस्तमोऽभिनिघ्नाय रुचये लोकसाक्षिणे नाशयत्येष वैभूतं तदेव सृजति प्रभुः पायत्येष तपत्येष वर्षत्येष गभस्तिभिः एष सुप्तेषु जागर्ति भूतेषु परिनिष्ठितः एष एवाग्निहोत्रञ्च फलं चैवाग्निहोत्रिणां वेदाश्च क्रतवश्चैव क्रतूनां फलमेव च यानि कृत्यानि लोकेषु सर्वेश रविः प्रभुः एनमापत्सु कृच्छ्रेषु कान्तारेषु भयेषु च कीर्तयन् पुरुषः कश्चिन्नावसीदति राघव पूजयस्वैनमेकाग्रो देवदेवं जगत्पतिम् एतत्त्रिगुणितं जप्त्वा युद्धेषु विजयिष्यसि अस्मिन् क्षणे महाबाहो रावणं त्वं वधिष्यसि एवमुक्त्वा तदागस्त्यो जगाम च यथागतम् एतच्छ्रुत्वा महातेजा नष्टशोको भवत्तदा धारयामास सुप्रीतो राघवः प्रयतात्मवान् आदित्यं प्रेक्ष्य जप्त्वा तु परं हर्षमवाप्तवान् त्रिराजं यशुचिर्भूत्वा धनुरादाय वीर्यवान् रावणं प्रेक्ष्य हृष्टात्मा युद्धाय समुपागमत् सर्वयत्नेन महता वधे तस्य धृतोऽभवत् अथ रविरवदन्निरीक्ष्य रामम् मुदितमनः परमं प्रहृष्यमाणः निशिचरपति संक्षयं विदित्वा सुरगणमध्यगतो वचस्त्वरेति ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतंगमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Please keep your eyes closed. Gently rub your hands together. Warm them. Place it like a cup on your eyes. Slowly and gently look into your eyes as you open. Hope this session provided you with all the energy required to fight the wars of life, fight disease, fight mental anxiety, fight any problem that comes in our life. And Aditya Hridayam is just one of those simple mantras that gives us that strength. You can go back to the slide actually. Just a few photos. I wanted to show you how Aditya Hridayam had impacted my life. Towards the end, maybe 6 slide from the right. You can just go to the bottom. Okay. Yeah, yeah, back. Yeah, this is the power of Aditya Hridayam. It really gives you that blessings from your gurus. It helps you meet great and accomplished people. I got an opportunity to meet the Prime Minister of India and take blessings from very great gurus like Ganapati Sachidananda Swamiji. The next slide. And I also presented research papers in the country on Vedic rituals and the power of Indian knowledge systems. And I think it starts with us. When we take the time and effort to invest our energy and time into educating ourselves about our tradition, then we can take it to the further and next generation and make everybody happy and make them also experience the bliss that comes with it. Thank you.
Any questions, answers? Anybody have any questions? Please.
I have many questions. The first one is, what is the status of Ayurveda today in India and also the rest of the world?
Yeah, Ayurveda is gaining a lot of popularity. I can say this because I've been to the Y20 G20 conference that India had organized. If you're familiar, G20 president for 2022 to 23 was actually India, and I was invited as a special invitee from the United States to represent India and talk about how the US and India relations can be improved. So that happened in Assam, Guwahati. Why I'm telling you this is because health and well-being was one of the 5 themes of G20, and in that they had really talked about Ayurveda and the impact yoga and Ayurveda can have, and they want to take it to the West. Another thing is I am a student from Scholarship, Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, and that unit is called Indian Council for Cultural Relations, where we meet people from different cultural backgrounds. We meet people from all over the world, actually. We go to conferences all over India, and we meet students, other students like us, who are coming and learning traditional Indian knowledge, and they're from African countries, from Europe, from Russia, and then other India neighboring countries like Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka. Except Pakistan, every other country in the world, we've met through this scholarship. It's a really great scholarship. It has helped me so much with interacting with people globally. And why I'm saying this is ICCR from April 2nd onwards, it is announcing a learning tool for foreign nationals to learn about Indian traditional knowledge. So in that, Ayurveda is going to be a part. It's called UTICS, Universalization of Traditional Indian Knowledge Systems. And besides that, the Ministry of Ayush, which includes Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy. That's the abbreviation for Ayush. They also have several conferences throughout the year. So they conduct them throughout the country where people present papers. In Singapore, we have one called Singapore International Ayurveda Fest. It's happening in November. And then we have one in Kerala. So there, globally and in India, there are conferences. Now, when it comes to the US, recently I attended a global Ayurveda conference where people from the US were talking about what's the state of Ayurveda. They were giving their suggestions to the Ayush ministry. In that, they talked about how it would be nice to have people representing Ayurveda in the embassy, so the local consulate offices. That would be a great thing, is what they were suggesting in that meeting. Also, they said that the main gist of that meeting was they really emphasized the lack of confidence and communication skills among Ayurvedic professionals. And if that improves, then definitely we can see a lot of more changes. So especially in terms of presentation, management, etc. The thing that's already happening is that naturopathic, acupuncture, physical therapy, integrative medicine, the people with these kind of degrees, along with Ayurvedic knowledge, are practicing without a direct license of Ayurveda, but it is legal to practice with naturopathy or some other degree. So that is the state in US. But in other countries like Europe and Russia, there are Ayurvedic schools which teach Ayurveda and Sanskrit. And everything is taught just like it is in India. Especially in Russia, we have students from Russia in our college who are studying in India, but they do connect and affiliate with with colleges in Russia. So that's the answer.
Know if I should be dominating here.
Yeah, you can ask.
Just to follow up on what you said, like humans are trained to trust this, like organizations like FDA, right? What is the organization where Ayurveda medicines are certified, and what is being done, like to like gain the trust of people, because there are so many naysayers, right? All over the world in general.
Yeah. So in India, there's National Council for Indian System of Medicine, certain organizations which do check on Ayurvedic medicine. But the thing is, it is not internationally accepted, as you mentioned. FDA, though, have a branch called biotherapeutics, where Ayurveda is an element of that. Not many people are aware of it, but they do get pharmaceutically certified drugs from there. That's another way in which you can go for FDA approvals.
The reason I asked is like, if there is an organization, right, people would accept it much more,
Yes.
right? I myself, when I had a kid born, right, a lot of things which my mom said or my grandparents said worked for us rather than the medicines. So I think Ayurveda works a lot better than the like medicines, but there's no organization like to gain the trust.
Yeah, the thing is, it is recently started globalizing. If you just saw 10, 15 years ago, nobody in this country knows what is Ayurveda and yoga. It is really the part of the government of India to put International Yoga Day into a like into a as a festival. Even it's almost a festival every year. Everybody knows about International Yoga Day. So they're trying to make Ayurveda similarly popular. It's just that this has never been done before. You see that where I'm coming from, right? Because no one has ever gone to the US and said that I want to spread Ayurveda. This is kind of the first time it's even happening. So there are a lot of things we need to keep into account. Yeah, that is a good point. We need to standardize. But I would also say that standardization is difficult in Ayurveda because there's so much of thought that goes into preparing medicines. And when you make it in bulk and you just sell it as tablets, they don't work that way, actually. When I talked about the samskaras, these are processes you believe in, not because of belief, but really because there's a science, and that science requires you to sit down, be calm, and do it. It's not that it comes through this fast pace. For emergency treatment, I really think modern medicine has best solutions right now. And Ayurveda, we have lost many of the solutions it used to have. It's still practiced minorly in villages. But Ayurveda is good for any other preventive and chronic disease.
Thank you. It was a great session today.
Thank you.
Like kudos to you. Yeah, thanks.
Anyone else has any comments, feedback, questions?
We still have 20 minutes.
Yeah. So probably the problem with standardization is that it needs to be a generic medicine.
Yes.
Whereas in Ayurveda, you have to customize it to the individual
Yes.
based on doshas.
Yeah, and many a times, like traditional doctors, I go and visit traditional doctors. Every doctor needs a doctor. So you can't give yourself medicines. But when I go to my traditional doctor who practices with his own clinic, he makes his own medicines. So there won't be a customized, though there are references for medicines. For example, Mahara Yogaraja Gugulu, that is one medicine. So that has so many ingredients. And if you want to use the same, whatever is mentioned in the text, the same dosage, if you want to give it to the same patient, maybe this doctor has a different type of reasoning. Maybe he thinks that some quantity of this should be reduced. Then what will he do? It's better to prepare his own. So my doctor prepares his own medicines and makes it according to that patient. But everyone doesn't have the fortune to do that, so they buy it from the pharmacy, which is not wrong, but again, it's not the best way. If you have so much knowledge and you can reason what's best for the patient, why would you rely on a tablet from somewhere? Yeah.
Two questions. One is how widespread it is in India. Like you said, situation here, FDA, and also how is it in India? Is it like if I have some problem, like people do they first think of like going to an English type of medicine as they say in India, or go to an Ayurveda? And second question is, if I buy a medicine and if I have a question here, I can go to online and read research papers and see how well it works or it doesn't work. So on Ayurveda also, do we have such a thing?
Yeah. So there are several research articles being written. You can, I'm not getting the name of the ResearchGate. So you can go to researchgate.com. You can get several articles on Ayurvedic research. That's the second question. And also, I would like to say in that Ayurvedic education awareness programs, what I'm trying to do at a very little small level, I think that is the reason we're not able to, get the right response. Because when you don't educate the patient about what you're doing, especially for the Western audience and now even the urban Indian audience, they really want to know what's happening. If you don't tell them anything and say, just take this, it's going to work. Just take it. And they don't have patient interaction. You don't tell the patient what you're doing. They really are less likely to, as you mentioned, to respond well to that. So patient education, this is an area we need to work on. First question, I forgot.
What is the status like?
Status.
Yeah, people do they?
People, yeah. So there are two categories. Like Garbha Samskar, there are so many initiatives being taken now. Young couples do come to Ayurveda and seek treatment just as a prevention. This is usually coming from the higher middle class, richer population. And then when it comes to villages, because I'm staying in a suburban place, where we have a 400-bed hospital. So most of the patients are coming from very serious illnesses like Down syndrome patients, and then muscular dystrophy, cerebral palsy, these kind of cases. Really serious. So they're coming at the last stage when everything's over and then they have no hopes they're going to make it or not. And then they come to Ayurveda. And surprisingly, luckily, sometimes it works. Sometimes it won't, because the stage of the disease is so chronic and it's come to the peak. So that is the condition. It's different for urban and rural India.
The medicine prescribed in Ayurveda is regional, or like all over India it will be the same?
So there are several pharmacies like Vaidyaratna, Charak Pharmacy, then you have Patanjali, Dabur, so many pharmacies. So they do all over the nation export. But as I said, some practitioners like to do it from their local place. Like SDM is a local product brand. My college one, where we only do it for our college patients and for other SDMs. So three colleges. That's
Any questions more?
Yeah, I have one more question.
Yes.
That is, they say all these herbs are grown regionally. How do they get these herbs in the original form that was mentioned? No, in India. I'm talking about in India only.
So pioneer is a word because actually it depends on which sampradaya you're from. Sampradaya is a lineage. So if you study under the Charaka lineage, your pioneer is Charaka. If you follow the pediatric system, Kashyapa is your pioneer. And if you follow
But
the
this
surgical,
is all this the lineage of Dhanvantari, basically.
that is Dhanvantari is Sushruta's lineage. Charaka's is not. It is Bharadwaja, Indra, Ashwini Kumara, Brahma. That is the lineage
Can you
it comes
elaborate
from.
on the lineages that are
Okay.
there in Ayurveda and also the source of Ayurveda? Because I think for the
See,
interest
the
of
lineage
everyone,
and source is different according to the different There are three sampradayas. One is the pediatrics, one is medicine, and one is surgery. Pediatrics is Kashyapa Sampradaya, and then we lost most of Kashyapa Samhita, but still, in the little that remains, we can do so much practice. That's the benefit of Kashyapa Maharshi. And then we have Charaka. Charaka Samhita was written by Agnivesha, so it's also called Agnivesha Tantra. Agnivesha is a student of Atreya. Actually, Atreya had so many students: Agnivesha, Bhela, Jatukarna, Parashara, Hari, Taksharapani. These were 6 main students, and he was the best student. He used to take notes after class, is what they tell us, because yeah, he used to take notes after class, and that's how we got Agnivesha Tantra or Charaka Samhita. It is so elaborate, and they say it's for Alpa Buddhi. Even if you're intellectually less capable, not the smartest person, you can still understand Charaka Samhita because it explains everything in such an easy manner, and it peels the banana and gives you, so you can understand it. Sushruta Samhita is more of a deductive type of reasoning which it uses to explain. It sees everything in a surgical point of view. So that's why Sushruta Acharya got a lot of fame in the world. If you say surgery, plastic surgery, and it came from India, people say Sushruta. He's in the museums in Europe and all of that. So, but Charaka did not, because he looks at the person as a holistic human. He really incorporates the Atma, Sharira, and all of these things I talked about come from Charaka's lineage. That's all I want to
The other
talk.
one, Ashtanga.
Huh?
Ashtanga you mentioned.
Okay, Ashtanga Hridaya is kind of a summary of Charaka. Ashtanga is just for the new generation, so it's made into easy shlokas. So if you see Ayuh Kamaya Manena Dharmartha Sukha Sadhanam, Ayurveda Upadesheshu Videha Paramadaraha. But if you see Sushruta, it's like Tatra Shalyam Nama Vividha Trinakashta Pashana Pamshaloha Loshta Sivalanaka Puya Srava Dushta Pranantarkarpa. It's so long, it's too difficult, we can't learn it. So that's why people made Ashtanga Hridaya.
Can you repeat that again?
So that's just
Slowly.
the definition of a shalya or a foreign body. Tatra shalyam nama vividha trina kashta pashana pamshu loha loshtasthi bala nakha puya srava dushta vranantar garbha shalyodharanantram yantra shastra ksharagni pranidhanat prana vinishayarthancha.
Very good. See, here, why I ask her to repeat that is in Ayurveda, even in Western here in the California and the Sacramento area, there is a Ayurveda of I think there is Ayurvedic colleges there. Even though they are teaching Ayurveda, but nobody is teaching the traditional way with the shlokas, with the sutras. One Ayurvedic Vaidya, normally they call Vaidyas. The Vaidya is supposed to know these sutras by heart, so that way they know and they can, because whatever is the quotation, even though in the mantras or sutras in Sanskrit, if they know, then they can able to guide us properly. So that is the reason I asked her to repeat that again, to just you all to listen that sutra. Thank you, Amma.
Okay, cells interact with different herbs. Okay. No, no. So this is a really good advancement in modern science where they talk about how the drug actually acts, the drug activity when it goes in slow release tablets and all of this. It is in detail, but in Ayurveda we have Bhaishajya Kalpana, which is talks about how to prepare different medicines. So you use powder form for certain reasons. You use bhasma or even minute powder, rasayana therapy. So these are just the form or modes of administrating a drug. Those are given in elaborate, but how it acts inside the body, it is not. It tells you the benefit. They always give you a palashruti, like Triphala. What is the palashruti of Triphala? Triphala kapha pittagni meha kushtha vinashini chakshushya deepani chaiva vishamajvara vinashini. So it helps in removing the intermittent fever, and it helps in making your eyesight good, eyes good, and hair good, and it helps in digestion, all of these. So that's the benefit, the palashruti of using Triphala Churna. So that's how it tells you things. It doesn't exactly go into the mode of action. But we do understand it. Now we do research on the way Nasya acts in the body. How does Nasya, which is in the nose, it's in the head region, how does it help and act somewhere in the back, or help act in the Panjas. So that is a specialty of Nasya. That mode of action. Also, basti. Basti is anema. It says apadatala murdhastham doshan viryena bastiradatte. This is a benefit of basti. So it says that from the toes till the head, basti can act in that way. Enema given through the anal route can act anywhere in the body. So there are research being done on this aspect, but it is not mentioned classically in Ayurveda. Okay, so I understand the question. Yeah, so the question is, does Ayurveda have a specific way of clinical examination or diagnosis? How do you diagnose a patient, just by looking or by holding the pulse? So the answer is there is something called Ashtasthana Pariksha, Dashavida Pariksha. Ashtasthana means based on 8 locations in the body, you are examining. That is Nadi, based on the Nadi pulse, Mutra, based on urine, Mala, and then based on the tongue. Tongue examination is a totally different science. And Jihva, Shabda, so based on how the patient sounds, the voice of the patient. Then Sparsha, how his temperature is. Is he feeling too cold? Is his periphery cold? Or is it warm? Or is it sweaty? So based on the feeling of something. Is there inflammation, swelling? So you can tell by only touching. You can't really tell by looking at the temperature of something. You need to touch. Sparsha Drik. So you'll see a patient. That is what you explained. Darshana. Darshana, Prashna, Samsparsha. This is another way of classifying where they say 3 methods of treatment, examination for treatment. So that is Darshana, looking, then Sparsha, by touching, Prashna, by asking, interrogation. That's important for treatment. Dashavida, I won't go into that because it's too many. 8 is enough.
Marmas on our body, marmasthanas.
Yeah. So marmas are special points in the body. It's called marayati iti marma. It means that wherever, if you get an injury to that point, you can die. That's how important the marmas are. I mean, if you get an injury to that point, like for example, hridaya, heart. If you get injured here, it's dangerous for you. So hridaya, nabhi, and basti, they're considered as 3 marma. So these are the main marma, but there are 108 all over the body. And I think Sharmagar can talk about so many things related to Vedic practices and marmas. But Ayurveda also does talk about marma. And there are Sadhya Pranaharani, Kalantara Pranaharani. These are the types of, there's so big classification because it's 108. I'm not going to tell about this.
So online there are some, in the Zoom there are asking where and when we can get this recording. Of course, whoever registered online for the Zoom, you all will be sent this recording to you all. And of course, this is all live in our temple YouTube channel also. You can download it from there also. And there was a great introductory session. It would be a great if there could be a follow-up session to deep divine further. Yes, we will be planning to do that with Dr. Indrakanti, and we will let you know in our temple newsletter. And how can we contact Dr. Indrakanti ji? So definitely I will share the contact and in the temple newsletter and WhatsApp, so you will be able to get it. And somebody is asking question, and they're saying, thank you so much for introducing me to this science. Please explain how mental anxiety is inversing and what can one do to help themselves.
I didn't understand.
Mental anxiety.
In
Reverse.
reversing. Okay, understood. Okay, increasing. It's okay. Yeah.
So it's a typo.
So in Ayurveda, we have 2 types of diseases based on the adhisthana or the sthana, where the disease is located. And the 2 types are manas and sharira, the sharirika or physical ailments and mental ailments. To treat any mental ailment, they give a remedy of dhi, dhriti, smriti as the treatment. So, dhi dhairya atma di vijnanam mano dosha aushadham param. The best treatment for mental illnesses is instilling good memory into the patient, instilling good confidence, cognition, and improving the knowledge of the patient about himself. So, educating the patient plays an important role. You could think of it as the present cognitive behavioral therapy and these kind of things. There are also several medicines taken. For Ayurveda, the main thing in mental diseases is mind is way more inside than the body. If you think of the mind, where do you look at? Like, you'd maybe say it's here. Some authors believe mind is located between the shirasa and the talu. Some authors believe it's located in the chest. So where do you think of when you think of mind? So it could be anywhere. We don't know for sure, but we can say this is my hand, this is my leg. So that's why when we go to mental diseases, they're way more inside. So we need panchakarma tikshna shodhana, a very strong eliminative process to make you active again and understand yourself better. So this is done as tikshna nasya, as you mentioned about nasya, giving really strong medicines like maybe some ginger juice, something like that, which will really wake the person all of a sudden. This helps in depression too.
There is another question. Same person is asking: is there any treatment for vitiligo?
Vitiligo.
Vitiligo, yeah.
Yeah, but I have to understand about the patient. I can't say.
Okay, so and there is another question: how effective are Agni karma and
Kshara karma,
Vidha karma?
Vidha
Vidhan sir, Veda
Vidha
kadu.
karma.
And what are they used for? Do these have Shastra Pramana or these new addition to Ayurveda?
These have Shastra Pramana. Kshara and Agni are mentioned in Sushruta Samhita. It says that Kshara is the use of alkali. It is used in hemorrhoids, fistula. This Kshara Sutra Prayoga, I think he is thinking about that because that is a development that has been brought out again, reintroduced into the practice because it was lost a few years ago. Kshara was always there, the use of alkali substances to cut hemorrhoids, piles, etc. But they even use it internally. There is also something called pani akshara where you drink kshara and remove tumors in the stomach, etc. So that is about kshara.
He's referring to Agni and Veda.
Oh, Vidha karma. Yeah, kshara, Agni also has the same benefits. It is used in pain management basically, and it is referred to in Ayurveda.
Is it in the Shastra as a question? Vidya
Yes.
and Agni.
Yes. The Shastra Pramana is there.
Ksharad Agnir Gariyan Kriyasu Vyakyasyamaha. It is mentioned. Tad Dagdhanam Apunarbhavat. So it is said that disease will not reoccur if you do Agni Karma.
And another question by Dr. Kamlakar Rambhatla. What is your experience with mental health?
Experience with patients with mental health?
Yes.
I have not done much of practice yet because I just finished my studies now. I still have to enter into internship.
Okay, and can you please say one more time about the college you attended? Also, any website to refer to for sake of guiding young students?
Okay, SDM College of Ayurveda and Hospital, Hassan. HASSAN. So maybe we can type that in the
Look
comments
up
section.
SDM.
SDM College of Ayurveda and Hospital.
SDM refers to Sri Dharmasthala Manjunatheshwara College.
Yes. And there is another question. Any prescription for improving focus and Medha Shakti?
Yeah. So in Ayurveda, we have many Medhya Rasayana Dravyas like Madhuka, licorice sticks, roots of licorice. You can make a churna out of that, drink it with milk in the morning. That is really good for even sleep. If you drink it at night time, it helps in sleep. You can also take Manduka Parni and Guduchi, Tulasi. These are really good Medhya Dravyas.
Another question, how long is the course in Bharat and in USA is here online course also to get degree?
Good question. I
Degree
think
for
you
the
want to
sake of
explain the
what?
journey so that you can.
So in the US, we have a weekend getaway Ayurveda, become a doctor in a weekend. How to become a doctor on Sunday in 12 hours, in 3 hours. How to do a course and become a doctor. That's what's going on in US right now regarding Ayurveda. People who are sincerely studying naturopathy along with Ayurveda and acupuncture and trying to learn it are there, but this is a common practice of doing the weekend style. In India, it is a real, there are more than 30,000 graduates every year in Ayurveda. It is called Bachelor of Ayurvedic Medicine and Surgery. It's a 5.5 year program. You can read the syllabus. It is more than 100 pages long. And that's not even including all the details of the syllabus. So you can look into that.
And how can, many people are asking how to get in touch with you and about some consultations. So I will give them your contact.
Yeah.
And there is another question. Can you talk about improve lung capacity, improve COPD?
Okay. Chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. Yeah, so this is basically related to kapha and vata imbalance. I really have to look into the patient to talk about it more. But in general, pranayama for improving lung capacity without any complications, just pranayama and certain mudra pranayama. Dattakriya Yoga itself is doing so much because that's an online place where you can just attend every day for free and learn yoga. So I have seen it myself, done it myself, and I really suggest everyone to join that because it's free and you can do it from anywhere. It's more than 1.5 hours every day. That's a great practice where the yoga trainer has himself treated so many people on these lines.
And last question online. How can we learn the sutras by heart like you have? Okay, please explain about it.
Okay, so I like to learn it by heart because I seen the benefit. Before, as I mentioned, I was an insecure, really not the smartest kid in the class kind of thing. If you look at Asians and Indians, I was not the smartest. I would probably put myself at a 60%, 70%, not 100%. So to get to that level, I think the only thing that has helped me is chanting. Because that was my way of improving my communication, removing my fear, and it is in my way it's the biggest strength that I have, and I would love to train people to chant better, and I can do it because I've done it for 4,000 students already. I've helped them learn the complete Yoga Sutras, and I've taught them Nataraja Stotra, which is even more complicated than Ayurvedic Sutras. So
Can you just chant one first sloka of Nataraja Stotram, please?
सदञ्चितमुदञ्चित निकुञ्चितपदञ्झलझलञ्चलितमञ्जुकटकं पतञ्जलिदृगञ्जनमनञ्जनमचञ्चलपदञ्जननभञ्जनकरं कदम्बरुचिमम्बरवसं परममम्बुदकदम्बकविडम्बकगलं चिदम्बुधिमणिं बुधहृदम्बुजरविं परचिदम्बरनटं हृदि भज. Has only 10 shlokas, and if you chant like this, your lung capacity will improve. That is for sure.
So that is the Nataraja Stotram, which is what she was chanting in Chidambaram. They chant Nuttavasane Nataraja Rajo Nanadhadakkam Navapanchavaram Muddhartukamus Sanakadi Siddhane Tadvimarsha Shiva Sutra Jalam. So that's Shiva Sutras when I Vunnaruluk Yevong, Yauchayavaradlan Yamagaran Javai Gadathas Javagadas Kavajata Jarado Kaveshahal Idimaheshwarani Sutrani. So those sutras and then the Nataraja Stotra. So these all are, to conclude these online questions, and of course, if any have any questions, you can ask here. We will, and I'm planning to have ongoing classes through the temple and through my center with Dr. Indrakanti in different courses, like Ashtanga Hrudaya. There is a couple of weeks of course. And there are other courses which I'm asking her to teach. And as of course, she is, she's very busy with her protocol in India, with the government of India and her classes, but she's agreed to do that, and slowly we will bring those courses. If you are interested, please, again, I always say when you receive an email from temple, don't think, okay, it's our temple, we will know from Sharmaji. Just open that email and read it. That way you know what's happening. So that way only you can know, okay, you can sign up for these courses. So that is the what. And I just last one question somebody asked again. Um, Here, do you get free education? You just mentioned what site or online address?
For studying like me through scholarship.
The
Datta Yoga Kriya,
Kriya,
Datta Yoga.
Oh, Dattakriya Yoga.
Yes.
Yeah, we will share that information.
Yes.
That will be shared. But you can also study in India. I came through scholarship, so you
And
can.
can you able to share the slides with all the participants later
Yeah.
on, so I can send it to them?
Sure.
If you-
Yeah.
So whoever registered online, you all will be receiving this presentation also. So then you, for reference, and is it necessary to be vegetarian to be a practitioner of Ayurveda?
No.
Can you refer something about ones that are non-veg?
So the Sushruta Samhita in the chapter about Shishyopanayana gives a detailed explanation to how you can initiate a student of any varna, Kshatriya, Brahmana, Vaishya, anyone into Ayurvedic to become an Ayurvedic doctor. So a Kshatriya can do it, and I would like to interpret this as a royal physician, a person who treats, there are people who treat ministers, who take care of the Raja Vaidya. That's what is called as Raja Vaidya. So their responsibilities are such, and they are usually of Kshatriya Varna. So Vaishya Dharma they could be pharmaceutical businessmen. So this would be Ayurveda for Vaishya. And Ayurveda for a Brahmana could be teaching. So depending on what your skills are and what your needs are, you can always pursue Ayurveda and fulfill your Ashrama Dharma and Varna Dharma.
Thank you, Ravi garu, yes.
Yeah. So I have a request. The theme is how to increase memory and the techniques of memorization. More specifically for all the Bhagavad Gita students which we teach, younger children, more so the adults, they all are uncomfortable. They get confused. So maybe if you can set up a course or a session, that would be helpful. I don't know if you have a quick answer, but if not, we can pick it up separately.
You mean the benefits of chanting and how to
No,
improve
how
memory
to-
techniques? How to
memory
improve
techniques,
memory.
exactly. How to
Yes.
improve the memory and using
How
any
to
of the stuff.
memorize faster and better, right?
Yeah, tricks
Yeah,
and techniques.
definitely.
So any other questions you all have before we conclude? Yes, sir. Please, mic తీసుకోండి. ఎందుకంటే ఆన్లైన్ కూడా వినిపిస్తుంది అందుకోసం ఇంకేం కాదు. So people can hear you all.
I just have one question. What resources are available here, both in terms of study, in terms of getting consultation, and in general?
If I'm not wrong, the website is called NCISM E-Samhita, where if you just search Charaka E-Samhita, you will get the Sanskrit text with the commentary by the respective Chakradatta, the author who commentated on each shloka. You get it in E-Samhita. So that's like an online database for Charaka. You get Ashtanga, you get everything. We can provide those links. That is for pure Sanskrit study. If you want to get the English translations, you can look at Google Reads. Maybe you can get some download books there. I've been able to find in libraries, in online libraries. It is a little bit difficult. But charakasamhitaonline.com has it in the form of a website. So for only Charaka Samhita. I have not been able to find Ashtanga in that method. But you can search that.
There are several websites like Easy Ayurveda. There are many websites
Yeah,
that
Easy
give.
Ayurveda does not give you exact from the text, like it's not a textbook. It answers your simple questions regarding health. That's also one. Archives, yeah. I didn't get the word archives, yeah. It's on archives. But in the online also, if you search Charaka Samhita online, you will get the whole online.
But if you see those text, you will only see a Sanskritam long lines which is not easy to understand. So you really need to have somebody explain.
Yeah.
It's not like Ashtanga Hridaya where the shlokas are very simple, like similar to Bhagavad Gita. But the Charaka Samhita is like a prose kind of thing, Gadya kind of text.
Learning is in the form of three: Adhyayanam, Adhyapanam, Tadvidya Sambhasha. So doing seminars, conducting discussions, debates, this is a really integral part. Tadvidya Sambhasha Buddhi Vardhananam. So you want to improve your intellect, your memory. you need to really discuss with your peers, or else you will be just involved in your self-study. And teaching is also a method. You need all of this. You can't do it by yourself. From personal experience, I don't think you can only read by yourself and understand. You need someone guiding you, and then you can read by yourself. That helps.
Just to also show the volume of this knowledge, like Charaka Samhita is about 30,000 plus shlokas, and Ashtanga is 10,000 odd,
How
right?
heavy was it when we put it in the airport for checking? It
Yeah,
was like
it's like you
maybe
can like
4 pounds.
20, yeah, and you'll say it's very big. It's very, very big. The content is so much that you cannot memorize in a few years. It's that much content is there, and it is after we lost 80% or 90% of it. They say that it is 100,000 plus shlokas only Charaka Samhita.
Not Charaka, but in
Or in the
Brahma
Brahma,
Samhita, there were like 1 lakh shlokas.
Yeah,
So,
so
it got down and down and down, and now we have.
yeah, so all of our ancient knowledge is in that magnitude. Even if Mahabharata is 100,000 plus shlokas, right? Almost every text that we see of our Indian knowledge is 100,000 plus shlokas. So much content. It is not practical for one human life to perfect in one shastri.
Okay. Any other? Yes, sir. One question. Mike, one, sir.
Thanks for the presentation. It was pretty informative. So I have one question regarding the kids. What kind of Ayurvedic options do we have for kids with developmental delays, like ADD, ADHD, and things like that?
I have to see and tell
Okay.
because I don't want to tell in general. We do, as I already mentioned, for these diseases, there are really long protocols and lot of treatments that we do simultaneously. External, in terms of external, we do something called upanaha, where we bandage the patients wherever the limbs which are affected. In case of cerebral palsy, but since you mentioned ADHD, there are treatment options like Shirodhara externally, and internally we do Panchakarma and other things. Like I mentioned in my trailer video, you have Daiva Vyapashre, Yukti Vyapashre, Sattva Vijaya. That is the standard for any treatment. It should be the standard. So you really need to look into astrology also, and in those.
Yeah, just to answer that question, in the Vedas there are different mantras and different remedies are there, and like in each Veda has a different treatment methods also. So of course, again, once the Ayurveda, whenever you go to the Ayurvedic doctor in a traditional way, they look at your astrological chart also, because they look at your previous birth also, and then they bring that all the whatever is connections there. So it's all connects together, and there are remedies in the Vedic way to heal those areas. Definitely, it can be done.
One really good one is the Nataraja Stotra, which I chanted.
Absolutely.
It is really good for helping kids with ADHD. I've seen some articles on that.
Yes.
long ago.
So there are many stotras like this. Like a Kalabhairavastakam is there.
Yes.
Like they're different. Like a Shivatandavam is also one of the stotras. There are different chantings are very powerful, and by listening itself, even though you don't understand meaning, it can help you.
So chanting will help the student calm down and able to receive the medicine or the person more receptive for the medicine. Another thing, just to add to Sharmaji's point about the Jyotisha. So Jyotisha Shastra is so big, there is a specific text about Vaidyakiya Jyotisha, which normally we only go to Jyotisha for some marriage or different aspects, but there is a specific text about Vaidyakiya Jyotisha, about specific to health and medicine. So they work hand in hand, medicine and Jyotisha.
So one question somebody asking, are specifics about chikitsa based on astrology mentioned in Samhitas, or do we have to learn astrology separately?
Ekam shastram adhiyanam navidyat shastra nishchayam tasmat bahuvidham shastram janiya chikitsakaha. That would be the answer.
Can you explain it, please?
So basically, if you learn one shastra, it won't be enough because that will not give you the whole knowledge. You need to learn allied sciences, is what we call now. astrology, and then yoga. These are allied sciences for Ayurveda. They are necessary, and specific Vastu, Shastra, and Nakshatra, these kind of things are mentioned very briefly, not in detail, and not in customized per patient, and not in detail. But it does tell, like on Pushya Nakshatras, Swarnamrita Prasha, auspicious nakshatras in general, but not in detail.
So here, it's an interesting question. My daughter born 1 lb 14 ounce at 6 months 1977. Now she is OBGYN sitting in your class, and she is Dr. Sonali Shah. Is Dr. Sonali Shah here? Okay. No, they said sitting there. So the question is, do you understand more what the question is? Oh, the statement, okay. Okay. Any other questions so we can conclude with the prayer? Yes, Amma, question on the Adagande. Ivan, sir.
It was a very nice presentation, very nice to know you. And I did learn the Nataraja Stotram on Vyoma, very tongue twisting and good stotram. What are your plans? I know it is personal, but I was wondering, it is very nice. We want to see you more in the US, so I don't know whether you're practicing here, planning to practice here.
First, I'll do my internship, my residency, and then I'll see what I'll do. Because I have so many things going on presently, but my goal is one, I want to spread Ayurveda, I want everyone to be aware about certain things, and mainly bring back people from the Western perspective to the Bharatiya Drishtikon, be able to view life as one, that the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
She will settle in India in a nice place, and she will have an Ayurvedic treatment center. We all can go there for the treatments.
Yes. That's
Okay.
good. Sounds
In the future.
good.
He decided my future.
Okay, like of course, and she is she needs everybody's blessings, and she's growing, and she should reach to very heights in this subject. And I request all of you bless her, and of course you want to have a talk to her after the session, you can, and I pray to the goddess to give her all the strength and success in her endeavors. Thank you very much, Amma, and I'm really, really proud to bring you here and today, and hopefully we will continue with the knowledge online. And whenever you come to US, of course she comes only once in a year here, but whenever you come, please come to our temple, and thank you very much again. Thanks.
Thank you for this opportunity, Sharmita.
And I request Ravi Garu, please bless her with the, Ravi Garu. That is a prasad from our temple, and blessings. Om Ajurda Agne Havisho Jushano Ghrita Pradiko Ghritajo Niredhi Ghritam Pitva Madhuja Rugavyam Piteva Putram Abhirakshata Divam Pashyati Putram Pashyati Pautram Prajaya Pashuparmithune Jayate Yavuchainam Evam Veda Shatamanam Bhavati Shatayuh Purushashyatendriya Ayushyevendriye Pratidishtati. Thank you all. Thanks all for online who have attended. Thank you very much. And see you all soon at next session. And I request all, everyone please have a lunch prasad. And thank you. And tomorrow, from next week, Sunday onwards, we have a Navratri programs are beginning. And Saturday we have a solar eclipse. Temple will be closed Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon will be in the evening only temple will open. From Sunday onwards, Navratri programs. Thank you.